Hello everyone, my name is Quinn Knight and welcome back to the channel, and today we'll be having some fun and ranking every map in Star Wars Battlefront II from best to worst, and we're going to be basing this video entirely off of the Galactic Assault versions of each map, as that is the most complete version of the maps, and to be completely honest, when it comes to heroes versus villains, I never really have a preference of which map that I play. Galactic Assault is the complete opposite. There are certain maps that I completely adore, while there are others that I would just rather not play at all. Unlike my hero ranking video, this list is very subjective and is based off of my own preference. I'm sure your guys' ranking will be entirely different, but this list is just listing the maps off from the ones that I like the best to the ones I'm not really a huge fan of. There's really only 2 maps on this list that I actually dislike. There's a couple others I could definitely do without, and a few in the middle that I think are perfectly fine, but my top 6 or 7 I all really like. Now that we have all that explained, I'm thinking about doing another video similar to this, but instead of ranking the maps, I would rank each of the standard trooper classes. That would definitely be really tough, as 3 out of the 4 are very solid, but if you'd like to see that video, let me know by leaving this video a like. If enough of you want it, I will get to work on that as soon as possible. Also, if you are new around here and love all things Star Wars, feel free to subscribe. In the past 30 days, we have gained over 25,000 new subscribers, which has made this month our best yet. But anyways guys, with all of that being said, let's get into this. So if you've ever stopped by my live streams, you will know if there's one map that I'm not a huge fan of, it's Jakku, and from my friends that I often squad up with, I am not alone in my feelings for this map. I think a huge part of that is my frustration with teammates just not caring about objective play whatsoever, because nearly every map of Jakku I play, half of my team is just sitting in the back attempting to snipe, which doesn't help the team whatsoever, especially if you can't snipe to save your life. If you do manage to get past the first phase, the rest of the phases are so easy, it's pretty much a guaranteed win. I've never actually been stopped on the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th phase because they're all that easy. I'm sure if you enjoy sniping, this map would be more your speed, but this just isn't a map that appeals to me in any way. The first objective is generally just frustrating for me because I'm one of very few players actually playing the objective, and after the first phase, it's pretty much a guaranteed win for the First Order if you can manage to make it past the first objective. Overall, it's not exactly a terribly designed map, but it's definitely one of my least favorites of the bunch. Next up, we have Taka Donna, and it's very simple to explain why this map ranks so low. The first phase is very unbalanced in favor of the Resistance, as they quite literally have the high ground at all 3 possible routes. If you do know what you're doing, the objective can be taken, but as you probably experienced yourself, teammates in this game are so unbelievably useless, it's almost shocking. I've gotten so frustrated watching my teammates continually running the same predictable route, doing the same thing over and over again and dying every time. When you actually spawn in with a team that pushes up, the first phase is pretty hectic and actually a lot of fun. If you do manage to take it, the second problem lies within the 2nd and 3rd phase, which are absurdly easy to take as the First Order, and they're also some of the quickest. If you're playing with a semi-competent team, which you'd almost have to be to get past the first objective, both the 2nd and 3rd phase can generally be done and over with in under 5 minutes. Those things combined lead to a very short match of Galactic Assault that lasts under 10 minutes, and is just incredibly unsatisfying. I love maps that give me enough time to go on a long streak with my heroes, and this map just does not cater to that. If you have a helpful team, Takodana can make for a quick, fun match, but it just doesn't reach the highs other maps have to offer. Alright, we're past the maps that I just don't really like all that much and into the top 10, which out of 12 I suppose coming in 10th place isn't too impressive, but that spot goes to Star Killer Base, and this is just a map I'm pretty indifferent about. If I get this map in the rotation, I will play it, mostly because I know what map comes next, and it's generally a fun enough time anyways, but it really does suffer from the same issue Takodana suffers from, that being that full matches through all phases are just incredibly short. The first phase always goes one of 2 ways for me. Either the Resistance constantly gets spawn trapped by the First Order, or the defending team is terrible and both the objectives are taken instantly. Then, if you do get past the first phase, it probably means the defending team doesn't play the objective at all, and they'll just sit at the top of the stairs while you take the second objective in a minute or 2. The 3rd phase is probably my favorite of the bunch. It's one of the best locations in the game to have some fun with the saber heroes, but it's usually very short and sweet because again, it's very easy to take. Playing this map is okay. If you get 2 teams that are somewhat evenly matched, it can be a lot of fun, but unfortunately those games are far and few between. At our number 9 spot, we have Tatooine, and I really love the first phase of this map. Most matches I play are generally really intense when it comes to taking the cantina and the junkyard, and lead to some of the best moments you will ever have while playing Galactic Assault. On a recent stream, we were able to get Palpatine at the last second of the first phase and take the objective single-handedly in overtime, which was so much fun and so intense. The second phase is a little bit less fun. It's generally filled with the enemy team spamming the ground with ATSTs, which are never fun to deal with. And the third phase is a little bit better. It's actually pretty fun and can get really intense at times, but definitely isn't as great as the first phase for me. Tatooine is a map that has some really great moments, but generally the matches are good, but not great. Our number 8 spot goes to Hoth, and this map would rank a lot higher if it wasn't for the first phase, which I just don't really enjoy. If you're a sniper, the first phase is probably your cup of tea, but for me, the first phase is just where I try to get as many battle points as possible for the second and third phase, and I just don't really enjoy myself. It's more preparation. Taking down the AT-AT almost never happens, simply because I'm usually the only one actually focusing on the objective, which is very frustrating. The reason this ranks above Tatooine is, well, I absolutely love the second and third phase. Both of these areas, especially the final phase, are some of the most fun close quarter combat areas in the entire game, and I always have a blast when I'm attacking or defending. If I'm defending, I can generally single-handedly lock down an entire area of the map as a hero, and as an attacker, I have taken entire objectives by simply flanking and taking the team by surprise. The final push of this map is incredibly well designed and can lead to some really satisfying wins. Kashyyyk comes in at number 7, and I have to say this map has really grown on me. I started out absolutely dreading this map, mostly because I was playing it all wrong. Once I learned the best routes to take, this has quickly become one of the most satisfying maps for me to play due to how incredibly long Kashyyyk matches can last. The first phase is one of the longest in the game, and even if only a few players are focusing on the MTT, it's entirely possible to take it down. Hero and vehicle play is also a blast in this game mode, and Saber heroes are surprisingly strong for such an open, wide map. The second phase is also a blast. Nothing is more satisfying than clearing out an entire room just surrounding the objective and planting that bomb to get those sweet objective battle points. The third phase can range from very easy to super intense. When it's really simple, it's a little underwhelming, but when the enemy is actively working on the objective, it can be a crazy back and forth engagement in overtime. I'd say my only real complaint is, well, I'm generally tired of Kashyyyk after one full match, and I usually back out of the lobby instead of playing it again. That's not really a fair criticism against the map design, but it's just a map that I really like, just not over and over again. Endor comes in at number 6, and now we're into the maps that I really love. There's very little about this map that I dislike. It perfectly captures the feel of Endor from Return of the Jedi, and gameplay wise, it's very diverse. There's actually a way for snipers to contribute to the objective play, which is a rarity. I feel like the first phase is very well balanced. The main computer in the small room can turn into a huge choke point, but players who have more than a few brain cells firing can just flank through the side doors and score tons of easy kills. The second phase with the rebels stealing the walker is really immersive, and I love that the forest provides a type of cover that can support just about any playstyle and makes nearly every hero very viable. The last phase is pretty much perfection. It's just super hectic, damage coming from every direction, and a huge need for aggression to succeed. It's totally my type of environment. It's definitely a great map, but there are 5 others that are even better in my opinion. Our number 5 spot goes to Kamino, and I will say, my nostalgia for the prequels definitely plays a huge part here, as the look of this map is just so unique and perfectly encapsulates everything about the cloning facility. The first phase is fantastic. It's pretty tough for the droids to actually take it if your teammates are trash, but I absolutely love getting those 6,000 early battle points, grabbing Bossk or Palpatine and wiping out the entire room and just taking that objective by myself, which is luckily possible even with the worst of players on your side. The second phase is also a lot of fun. It's challenging, but not frustratingly so. It strikes a perfect balance for me. The third phase is also great, and the only real problem with this map comes from the fourth phase. It's rare to actually make it to this one with your team, but when you do, it is unbelievably easy to just lock the clones in their spawn. If you've ever experienced this, you'll know it's very unfair for the enemy team, although I will say I'm generally not on the receiving end of this. But an aggressive player can pretty much lock down an entire team in their spawn by themselves, with very little the enemy can do about it. The insane amount of fun on this map just completely outweighs any of my small nitpicks. It's one of the most diverse maps in the game for sure, as every phase plays completely differently and the pace of the match rarely slows. Our very first DLC map ranks rather high, with Crait nabbing our number 4 spot, and this map is just genius. The tunnel system is fantastic. It gives players the options to go down below and engage in close quarters combat while keeping the resistance from shooting down that ATM-6, or instead just getting some long range gunfights up top. The ski speeders are also fantastic, probably my favorite vehicles in the entire game. Nothing is more satisfying than passing through a trench and taking out an entire team single-handedly in a ski speeder, and just racking up all those sweet battle points from damaging the ATM-6 is incredibly effective. The second objective never fails to put a smile on my face and has the potential to go on for a very long time in overtime if both teams are actively playing the objective, and this is one of the very few places in the game that pretty much forces you to get on the objective, as there are very few other places to go for action. Some players will still find a way to be useless, but generally this phase is just awesome, as is the third phase. It is a tough win for the First Order, but once you pull it off, it is immensely satisfying destroying the generators before the blast doors close. I also need to mention just how perfectly DICE captured everything about the Crait planet, from the red dust to the rebel base. It's all as close to perfection as you could ever imagine. Yavin 4 takes our number 3 spot, and this probably won't surprise my stream viewers in the slightest, as you're all very aware just how excited I get whenever Yavin pops up in the rotation. This has the perfect match length. I don't know how to explain it exactly, but these matches are always so satisfying. They're long enough where you have the potential to go on a very long streak, but the matches never overstay their welcome. This map also caters to so many different playstyles. If you want to use a saber hero, just go right ahead. If you're in the mood for some vehicle play, jump in an ATST. If you really want to snipe, it's a perfectly viable playstyle for the second and third phases. The underground tunnels in the third phase make for some of the most unexpected flanking routes in Battlefront 2, and overall this map is pretty much perfection. I really don't have any complaints when it comes to Yavin 4. It's very well balanced. The objectives are neither too easy or too hard. A victory is always very satisfying, and I'm always more than happy to play 2 matches back to back. I feel like my love for this map is not shared by the majority, but for me, it's one of the best. Strangely enough, the Death Star 2 comes in second, and honestly, with my top 2, do I even need to explain why these maps rank so high? Both are just perfect. I don't want to sound too repetitive, but the Death Star 2 perfectly captures everything from Return of the Jedi. All 3 phases are an absolute blast to play, and are very fair for both sides. I'm always very happy to play this map, as the hallways and close quarter situations just really cater to the lightsaber heroes, and this map is one of few where lightsaber heroes are just as good as the blaster ones. This is another match where it really hits the sweet spot for match length. I don't know, as someone who streams this game a lot, it's nice to play long matches that are very engaging, as opposed to maps like Taka Donna or Starkiller Base that are over in just a few minutes. I'm a huge fan of everything about this map. I have absolutely no complaints, and the Death Star 2 comes in at number 2. Number 1 goes to Naboo, and even without the eliminations, you guys all saw this coming. I'm not even going to do this map the disservice of going into detail why. Everyone should just know this map is absolutely amazing. The first phase is perfection, and phases 2 and 3 are where I have some of my most fond memories from playing Battlefront 2. Just days ago, I dropped my first 200 elimination game on Theed, and it was seriously exhilarating for a video game. Going on massive streaks with Bossk, Palpatine, Yoda, Lando, and Han are always so fun on this map, and I just love it for those reasons, not to mention how absolutely beautiful Theed is. But anyways guys, that is going to do it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, I would appreciate your face if you could drop this video a thumbs up, and also if you made it to this part of the video, comment your favorite map in the comment section down below. I'm sure there'll be a huge variety with a video like this, as for the most part it's completely subjective. There are a few maps that have some undeniably bad features, but for the most part it's all based on how you like to play. Also, if you love all things Star Wars, feel free to hit that subscribe button. I would definitely appreciate you for that. And anyways, thank you all so much for watching. You guys stay classy, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.